tonight. No guarantees. I didn't plan for a siyum, but it might happen. Tough. What? Tough was a shiur. Tough, I don't know. We had him. Yeah. We had. I've learned a long time ago not to be impressed. We had a machlokas last week. If I claim from you two types of grain, let's say, well, let's use apples and oranges, which you've been using till now. I claim to you apples and oranges, and you concede to me apples, but not oranges. Is that moida b'miktas or not? Is that a partial confession, right? According to Reish Lakish, it is a partial confession, because I claim to you two commodities, and you concede one commodity. It's a partial confession, and it requires a shvuah, an oath, midoraisa on a Torah level. According to Rabbi Yochanan, that's not considered to be a partial confession, because on half of the thing, I conceded to you completely. And on the other half, I didn't concede to you at all. So it's not partial. Partial is when from the apples, I concede to you part of the apples. From the oranges, I concede to you part of the oranges. But not where I concede all of the apples, as opposed to all of the oranges, or vice versa. Okay? So now we're taking it 6 lines to the bottom of Ayin Amud Aleph 139. This is how Rabbi Shimon Logish's part of Rabbi Yochanan says, Al daitcha, dat Omar. According to the you say, Tono shteimin avodo be'echad. If he claimed from him in two types, and he conceded to him one, alright, look. I'll tell you what. Stand. Since you're going to sit over there, so I'll stand. No, but I have to... Yeah. Okay. It's okay, I don't mind. So again, that's Rabbi Yochanan. Is that when he claimed for him two types, and the guy conceded to one, Chacham hold he's exempt from a shul because it's not considered to be moed of a miktas, a partial confession. What's here that we learn? What about the following case? Tono kelim b'karkos. I claim from you tools and real estate. And you concede to me tools, but not karkos, cover karkos, but not the real estate. Or vice versa, you concede the real estate, the cover of kelim, and reject the claim of the tools. In all these cases, you're exempt from a shvuah. Im b'kelim who pater. So says Reish Lakish, the reason why you're exempt from a shvuah is because karkos, well actually it's not Reish Lakish, but the Gemara there says in shvuahs, the reason you're exempt from shvuah because there's no oath on karkos, there's no oath on real estate, only oaths on movable objects, not on real estate. So that's why no matter how the claim is configured, since part of it had to do with real estate, you're exempt from an oath, right? However, the implication is that if there were two claims on tools, one on hammers and one on screwdrivers, and you conceded the screwdrivers, then you'd be chayev. It's only because it's real estate and tools, not two types of tools, right? So how can be? And so you couldn't Rabbi Yochanan. Vim became pater. If according to you, by two types of tools, there would be no oath either. It's not a kavachom. It's not obvious that when the claim is not on screwdrivers and hammers, but on screwdrivers and on land, that you're going to be exempt. What does Rabbi Yochanan do indeed with this brisa? Do patar law, like he interprets that the brisa is going to tell us a different kind of chiddush. It's going to tell us lizokiko shvuah, meaning that even though normally I don't take a shvuah on land, if the land comes together with tools, so there's a concept called gilgul shvuah. Very good. That you roll on him the oath, not just on the tools, but also on the land. So I might think that here, it is considered to be moedim miktas, right? Just like because the land gets rolled on. And that's why the chiddush is that precisely the point of Rabbi Yochanan, that because it's like apples and oranges, the tools on the real estate, so therefore Gilgul Shvuah doesn't work here. There's no Shvuah to roll on. Because when you can roll on the moedim miktas Shvuah onto the real estate, you do roll it on. But here there's no moedim miktas to begin with. So if in fact I could claim that you owe me 15 tools and 15 parcels of land, and you concede on 7 tools and no parcels of land, then I can take a shvuah through Gilgul on both the tools and the land. But where you concede on all the screwdrivers and none of the land, there's no shvuah whatsoever. Okay? Says more further. Now there's the question of Reish Lakish. Didn't we learn? Hatoyes chaver kadei shemen is actually our Mishnah, or it's a paraphrase of our Mishnah. It's our Mishnah. Hatoyes chaver kadei shemen. I claim from you jugs of oil, or oil jugs. I guess it'd be a more actual literal translation. And you concede the jugs. What are you talking about here? If we're talking about a case where he claimed oil and jugs, both, and the guy conceded on one of them, according to Reish Lakish, everybody should agree that since it's like apples and oranges and conceding on the apples, according to Reish Lakish, that is moedim miktas. So this case should require shvuah according to Reish Lakish. It shouldn't be the subject of machlokes between Admon and Chachamim. So why is it a subject of machlokes, right? Vim b'shutano shemen. And if on the other time about a case where he wasn't claiming the jugs, he was just claiming the oil, and the guy conceded and the guy conceded on the jugs, everybody concede that the confession is not a partial confession on the claim, because the claim is on apples and the confession is on oranges. Even according to Reish Lakish, that shouldn't require shvuah. So what's the case for our Mishnah? So the Omer Rabbi Zir or Vilna b'Shem Rav. In fact, we know that in that case which you just mentioned, there is no shvuah, because these Amoraim said name of Rav. V'shetaro kankane shemen. Was this the answer ready? No, not yet. What? Excuse me? Vim b'shetaro shemen? That's part of the question. Oh, I skipped. Did I skip? No, what? Yeah, I skipped. Or maybe I didn't read yet. I don't know. But anyway, this is the answer. It's sort of a case where he claimed jugs of oil. Now, one opinion is, it says ahin, but it really should be hahin. One opinion is holds that it's instead of mealing, it should be malayin, full jugs. And who's the one opinion? Admon. Admon claims Admon holds if I claim you kankane shemen, what am I claiming from you? Jugs full of oil. This is Reish Lakish's interpretation of the Mishnah. I claim you jugs full of oil, and you concede oil. That's you concede it. Sorry, you concede on the jugs. So according to Admon, that's moedim miktas. I claim jugs plus oil. You concede jugs. That's a partial confession.
When you say conceded,
yeah, he claims that he concedes that he owes it. That he took in that he owes it, yes. You weren't completely confused. So that was an exaggeration. Right, and it should be a hain malain, right? This guy holds that they're full jugs he's claiming. Vahain, and the other guy, meaning Chachomim, Amarekonim, says it's empty jugs that he's claiming. So that's the machlokas, according to Reish Lakish. Admon Holmes holds if I claim jugs of oil, I'm claiming full jugs of oil, and you're conceding jugs. According to Reish Lakish, that's moed b'miktzas. A partial confession requires a shvuah. According to Chachamim, if I claim jugs of oil, I'm claiming the other way around. I claim jugs of oil, and you conceded oil. No. I claim jugs of oil, and you concede. No, I got it right. I claim jugs of oil, and you conceded jugs. That's moed b'miktzas. I claimed oil, and you conceded jugs. That's not moed b'miktzas. Again, the question is, actually in machlokas, when I use the words kankane shemen, what do I mean to claim? Am I claiming oil and jugs, in which case your confession on either oil or jugs is moed b'miktzas, or am I claiming oil and you're confessing jugs? And it's not moed b'miktzas, it's not a partial confession at all, because they're not on the same wavelength. It says, I understand it can be construed that one is claiming jug without oil, but shemen v'lo kankanim? How is it possible if I claim kankane shemen to imagine that I mean to claim oil without the jugs? How would that be? How would that be? So it says, Ravun expresses the language, meaning he explains, I'm claiming measures of oil. Kankan is a measure. So in fact, when I claim kankan shemen, Rabbanon hold I'm claiming what? Not the jugs, but the measures of oil. And therefore, when you concede on the jugs, we're not on the same wavelength. That's not moed b'miktzas. Says more this amazing Baal Batish question. I don't think I've ever seen this question before in Gan Shas, Bavli, and Yerushalmi. It's a stunning question. Should be taken aback by this question. The Gemara asks, why don't we go ask him what he meant to claim? Have you ever seen that question anywhere in Shas?
Half of Shas.
Yes.
That's right.
It's an amazing thing.
You do see him on Shas in 3 years.
Yes. That's the Gemara. I can't believe the one actually asked it. Says where Bahid Nishtatek, so about a guy who became all of a sudden stricken mute, and therefore we can't ask him. So 3/4 of Shas is written for the people who are stricken mute. Okay, it's amazing, isn't it? Haposik Mosel Chasono. Somebody who stipulated for his son-in-law that he provide him with the dowry, he'd support him in koilo. Upasha laws a regal, and then extended to him the foot, which is in the language of modern Hebrew, and also in this Mishnah for he went bankrupt. He was not able to fulfill his obligation. Now, she already was mekudeshes, but not Nesua. You know what? She should sit until her hair turns white. Tough on her. Admon says it's not fair. If I, the woman myself, accept upon myself the obligation, then I should sit until my hair goes right. But if my father did it for me, it's not fair to me. I didn't do anything wrong. So therefore, either the woman says, either complete the marriage or get rid of me, but don't hold me accountable. Gamliel says, I think I see the words of Admon as being correct. Says the Gemara, Masnisa, our Mishnah is Bishop Pasak Ma'amodo. The Omachlokas is only if the father made the stipulation in her presence and she acquiesced. Avim lo Pasak Ma'amodo, but if she was not present and did not acquiesce, then Af Arbonim Modin, the Arbonim also concede that in that case she's not bound by her father's obligation, and therefore we say to her chassan, either fully marry her or get rid of her. Says the Gemara, Tani, we learned her Brisa. Rabbi Yisrael said, Chachamim did not disagree. If somebody stipulates money for his son-in-law, and he goes bankrupt, she really doesn't have to sit until he goes. Her hair becomes white. That's really not the case. He really changes the Mishnah. He says the truth is the Mishnah is miswritten. It should be the machlokas is al sheposka la'atzma, when she herself stipulated for herself. Admon omer yicholi shetoymar svura isi sho'aba loitzalite. She could say that I thought my father. In other words, she said they were going out on dates, and she said my daddy will give us $50,000. Right? Sure, many girls say these things nowadays. So therefore, she said that because she was sure her father would give $50,000. So Shadamot says she's still not on the hook because she could say, I thought he would give 50 grand. He didn't show up. He didn't come up with the money, right? Now daddy doesn't want to give. What can I do? But either marry me or get rid of me. Amar Gamliel, and that Gamliel said, I agree with Amon disrespect, even though Chachamim disagree and say, yeah, it's true, it's you who promised it, but you shouldn't have taken chances and said that, and now that you said it, you're stuck and you have to abide by it. So in fact, the machlokas is only when she herself actively encouraged him to that position. Okay? Halachavav. Somebody who complains on a field. He says this field is his. Yet, on the transaction which sold the field to the current occupant, and obviously he holds that transaction was under false pretenses, this person who has lodged a complaint is signed on it, the document as a witness. Admon says, he can say the reason why it's signed the document, even though it's a false document, is Hasheni Nochli. You, the buyer, the second guy, are easier for me to deal with in court. The first guy was difficult for me to deal with, so therefore I put the property into a position where it's easier for me to sue, and that's why I signed on it. Chachamim say no. If you sign on the document as a witness, it is a tacit confession on your part that the land is not yours. Okay? Ebed is chuso, you lost your rights. What if you sign a document in which this field is given as a demarcation or boundary line? Now, it's given as demarcation boundary line, and it's called in the document Jones Field, as opposed to my field. But I signed on that document. So it wasn't a document which sold the field itself, but I used the document under its current ownership, which I dispute as being a boundary marker or demarcation line. So that too, right? Even as chuso, you also lose your property. The losov tova, now the Yerushalmi throws in, and the Bavli does not throw this in. Losov tova shasasim acher. It's not just where you yourself wrote it in a document as a boundary. Afilu asa acher l'acher. Even if it's a document between two parties about a field, which is the third or fourth field, has nothing to do with this field. But they just happen to use this field of which you claim to be yours as a boundary. So the transaction doesn't concern your field or the field you're disputing, but just uses that as a demarcation point in a boundary in a discussion of two other fields. Once he's signed on as a witness, he loses his right. So it's not clear if he was Rashi in the Bible, he doesn't hold of this Yerushalmi, that it's only if the document itself pertains to the field, not if it's actually being used as a marker in another document concerning another field altogether. But the Yerushalmi holds, no matter what the context is, if it's identified in a document as somebody else's field, you lose your right to that field. Okay? Next Mishnah. I'm sorry, what the chutz starts. And he loses the way to his field. Now, it's understood it's in the Bavli, it seems also in Yerushalmi. We're talking about. I think we had this recently. It's a donut field. That's right. He has to fly over. Do we have it in the Yerushalmi and the Bavli? I think we had the Bavli and the Yevomis. Is it possible? Did we have this recently? Yeah, recently. It's either in the Bavli or Yerushalmi. I don't remember where. Must have been the Yerushalmi. What? When he got back, he couldn't remember how to get to his middle field. He goes to the shortest possible way, but he has a route. He's got to buy it for whatever price they sell it to him. Or even he has to fly through the air. That must have been the Bavli who had it. Okay. Rabbi Yisachina Omer. Okay. Rabbi Yisachina Omer Atoyin B'Rayotza. Rabbi Yisachina said he's got. It's only if he has proof that he had a path in the past. So if he had proof he had a path in the past, then he has a claim. But you just say, "Hey, I deserve a path." Pay through the nose. Says Mara Milse Amar. The case seems to indicate according to Chachamim. So they were talking about four different fields on each side, one on each side. Because each owner of a field says, "No, go to the other guy. My path wasn't to you, so the other guy. So therefore, I don't have to give it to you." The Shmuel says even if it's one guy on all four sides, as long as he bought from four separate guys. Because as we learned earlier, I think in the Bavli, maybe it was in the afternoon shiur. You know what? Maybe that's where he had it. In Azov, the afternoon shiur, right? So you didn't have it. So we had Azov. So it's Minvah Mitzvah. Because the guy says, the guy is surrounding, it was one guy. He says, I bought it from four separate guys. If you shut up and pay my price, then everything will be fine, I'll let you buy. But if you don't shut up and pay my price, I'll void the purchases which I had. I'll give back all four fields to the original owners, and then you'll be stuck. Because each owner will say, you wasn't through, not in my backyard, right? So therefore, it's bad. You might as well compromise with me and take the price I'm giving, because otherwise you'll have bigger headaches. Okay? So even if it's one guy, as long as he bought it from separate guys, so therefore he has the koyach of each of the separate guys to say, not in my backyard, in the other guy's backyard. Okay? Says more further. Wait a minute. It's kasha. Now the word Tanya appears many times on this page. It's a mistake. It should be tonight. Condition. Says more, wait a minute. What about the following? It is a brisa, but it's supposed to be tonight. Maybe it's Tanya or tonight. Tonight Yoshua. Yoshua bin Nun made a stipulation. If somebody was lost in vineyards, it was soros and grain fields. He can make holes, cut through the branches where he is, and go out until he reaches the highway, until he reaches his house. Even if the field is full of vineyards. Because with that condition, Yoshua distributed the land of Israel to its inhabitants. Now the question is, we see here Yoshua made a condition in Eretz Yisrael that if you're ever lost, you can find your way by going through other people's backyards, even though technically it should be considered to be theft. Aha! So here, why can't he go through the other guy's yards in order to get to his yard? Should be the same idea, right? Good question, right? So says the Gemara, no. Tonight Yoshua Lotzeis. Yoshua's condition was if you're lost, to get out. Shemali Kones. It wasn't that if you want to get in to your field in the middle, they can go in. And that Yoshua never made his condition. He made it in the extenuating circumstance of somebody who's lost, but not a guy who wants to get into his own field. And also, Tanai Yoshua Begufo. Yoshua's condition was for your own self, when you're lost. Shema b'mamono. You think Shema b'paraso? Here, this guy wants to take his cow in to plow his field. Yoshua didn't make any conditions to allow that, right? So that's why here this Tanai Yeshua doesn't work. All right, now the Gemara doesn't bring it down to Brisa, but the Gemara then comments on the Brisa, which says you're not allowed to go to your friend's field to trample your friend's field to get out your cow, which wandered in there. But you are allowed to go into your friend's field to chop down a branch on which your bee's hive is hanging. Don't ask me how it got there. I guess they flew there with the hive, or your bees flew there and made the hive. Not sure exactly what happened. We're allowed to go there and cut down the branch and take the branch away. And that's the Tanai Yeshua as well. So the question is, why the Tanai Yeshua works for you to cut down the branch to get the bees, but the Tanai Yeshua does not work for you to be able to get out your cow from his yard. So says, I'll tell you why. The cow will come back eventually on its own accord. Therefore, they didn't let you go in and trample his field. But Nachil Shel Dvarim, the swarm of bees, it's not going to come back on its own. Asuo so kegufo, they made it like your own body, meaning just like you can cut your way out of your friend's field, so too you can cut down the branch in order to get back your swarm of bees. Okay? Rabbi Yirmiyah said, Admon Rabbi Kiv Shnei Marmudev V'Davar Echad. He proposed, although the more actually will shoot that down. Rabbi Yirmiyah proposes that Admon and Rabbi Kiv both say the same thing. The Tzniut Taban we learned over there in Bo Basra, Mochron La'acher. You sold to somebody a well in your backyard, but not the backyard. So he's got a well in the middle of your yard. Okay? So in that case, Rabbi Kiva says he doesn't have to buy a pathway separate because we assume a pathway is included in the sale. The right of way is included in the sale, even if not stipulated in the document or in the conditions, right? Chacham says he's got to buy a pathway separately. So it seems like it's the same machlokas here. It's like Admon says that the guy in the middle field doesn't have to buy a road. He has a road. So there, Akiva says he doesn't have to buy a road to the well. He bought the well. He bought a road. Says where it's an error. Rabbi Yirmiyah made a mistake. Lo shoma domer Rabbi Hila. He's not here. Rabbi Hila and Rabbi Asim Shem Rabbi Yosef Shem Rabbi Yochanan. Bistam chalukin. The machlokas over there was by a sale without any specification. You just said I'm selling the well. He didn't specify. And the Gemara is going to explain what the difference is. Says the Gemara, if we're talking about, what are we talking about? Because what were we talking about? If we're talking about a case where it was either implicit or explicit that there would be a pathway, so everybody agrees he doesn't have to pay for a pathway. If on the other hand, okay, it wouldn't be the first coffee stain. If on the other stand, see, it shows I'm awake tonight. The imagine clutch the thermos. So even if it's clear that he included the pathway, everybody agrees that he doesn't have to buy a pathway, right? If it's a clear thing that he has no pathway, everybody agrees that he has to buy a pathway. Rather, what are we talking about over there? By the case of the sale of the well, Bistam, where the sale is made without any implications. Rabbi Kiva says he doesn't have to buy a pathway. Rabbanan say he's got to buy a pathway. But here, afilu dover bari yesh lo derech. Even if it's clear that he had a pathway, because what's about time he did have a path. in this donut situation, where he's field in the middle. Certainly, once upon a time there was a path. It would be ludicrous to assume that there was not. But Kol HaMamayda here, even Rabbi Akiva would agree that Tzarech Likach Lo Derech, he's got to buy a path now. Why is that? Because here, it's not this guy now selling the field in the middle to somebody else. In which case we could say, according to Rabbi Akiva, he sells with a good eye, and he sells him also a path. No, it's a pre-existing condition here. This guy, even if it's one guy, but he came, he caught 4 guys, and none of them knows where the path was, and none of them was amenable to give a path, and there was no sale to the middle guy at this point that we could say that implicit in the sale was the granting of the path. Rather, we have to go back to the existing situation and see how to interpret it. It could be here, Rabbi Akiva would also agree that there's no inherent pathway here, because in order to be inherent path, it would have to be that there always was one guy around who sold the inner guy his field, and then implicit in that sale was a path. But here there were 4 guys, and each one says, it wasn't in my backyard. And even the one guy says, I've got the koyach of those 4 guys of not in my backyard. And I didn't sell you a middle field, so you can claim that implicit in the sale was a pathway, and therefore even Rabbi Akiva might agree here to Rabbanan that it's tough on the middle guy, and he's got to buy now a pathway. Okay? Says the Mishnah further. This is a very fascinating Mishnah. Oh, is this a fascinating one? No, the next one. This is interesting, not fascinating. Someone produced a document against his friend. Reuben produces a star. Shimon owes him $200. Shimon produces a document that after the alleged loan, Reuben sold him a field. So Shimon says, listen, if I owed you money, why would you sell me a field? Right? Why would you sell me a field if I owed you money? You probably want to collect the money first before taking purchase money from me. It would be stupid of you. Instead of taking purchase money, get the money you owe. So says Amon Omer, Amon says, this is exactly what I just said. Amon says, right, to really owe you money. Instead of taking the money as a purchase price, you should have taken the money as a payback on the loan. It's a sudden when he sold me the field. Say no. This lender was a shrewd guy. He was smart. He says, you know why I sold you the land? Because I want to take it back as collateral. That's why I sold it to you. So I told Adarabba, my son in the land, gave me security. That's precisely the point. Now I have your $100, which you pay me for the purchase, and you also owe me $100 from before, and I will take my land back as collateral. So as a matter of fact, he says I was a much shrewder person by doing what I did. Okay? Rabbi Yehuda says, B'yofe b'kach. The whole machlokas is where the land was worth the precise amount of the loan. And that's why Admon says he wouldn't have done it, he would have taken the amount of the loan. Rabbi Yosef machlokas is even where it's not the same value as the loan. Okay? Period. Now this is actually a new topic. Let's imagine. Davle karka. What about a case where the borrower already had land? So the lender can't say, I sold you land so you should be able to give me collateral. He has collateral to give him. So what's the lender tiny? So Yochel Meimerle, no. The lender can still say, Karkatav Anaboy. I want to get good land as collateral. And I knew my land was good, and that's what I sold to you, so I could take it back as collateral. So it says more fine. But what about where the bar already had good land to serve as collateral? So what does the lender say then? So says more Yochel Meimerle could say, Titi Anaboy, I want to have my own land as collateral. It's more geschmack to get back my own land as collateral. Not only that, El Yochel Meimerle could say to him with a zachutbe. The lender could say, Leis becheli ton tarcheon de tarvayin. That's right. I was not able to work 2 lands. I figured I'll dump it on you for the time being, and then I'll take it back afterwards. I knew full well will be collecting against collateral. But in the meantime, I will be able to get a respite from my own labors, and you'll have to labor over it. Okay? Says Mishnah further. That was an interesting Mishnah. Now comes even more fascinating. Now this whole discussion which we're going to have, not in the Bible. The Mishnah, of course, is. We both produce a document against each other. Okay? So, document says, you owe me $100. Document you produce says, I owe you $100. So, I'm an Oimer. The guy whose document is later can say, actually, the guy whose document is earlier can say, your document is, the later one, is a forgery. Because if I owed you money, why would you be borrowing from me? You would rather collect from me than borrow from me. Say, no, it doesn't matter. That's Gorim Shabbalay. Why you're not to borrow money from somebody as opposed to collect payback? We don't know. But each of them collects the bill of debt. Now, no, I said that wrong. Oh, so many similar words in a row. What about a case where one guy loaned from the other $100? And the other guy loans $200. A gewaltige machlokes. You ready for this one? It's amazing. Ravuna Ma'isbalgu. Ravuna says it's machlokes. Rav Nachman Bar Yaakov, Rav Sheshes. Charamar once says, Yoitzi Mona Keneged Mona. $100 cancels out. Because it's 100 at 200, so the 100 cancels out. And the other guy just collects 100, right? Makes sense, right? The 100 cancels out. There's 100 left over. The Choronim on the other side, no! They don't cancel each other out. Rather, this guy collects 200, this guy collects 100. No, they don't cancel each other out. Right? He who says you cancel out 100 Torah corresponding to 100, he learns out from innocent oxen. Right? They haven't gored 3 times. That gore each other. First you deduct the parallel damage, and then in the remainder you pay chatzi nezek, half nezek, because of course they were still innocent oxen, they hadn't been forewarned 3 times. So there we see that there's cancellation, and then you work with the sum above the cancellation. So here, the 100s cancel each other out, and you work with the sums above the $100, above whatever cancels us out. Right? He who says that each one collects the full amount in turn, Yolifla Mirabani Dadmon. They learn from the rabbis of Admon. Because that's what seems to, what the rabbis of Admon say, they said, each guy's got a document. You can't cancel. Each document is separate edus. So each guy collects on the other one from his documents, right? Now it says the Gemara, it should be V'idach, says the Korbaneda. V'idach, Rabbani Dadmon. What does the guy who learned from the oxen say about that? He says even the rabbis of Admon, Modi, they concede, Shiotzi Mona Keneged Mona. That you cancel out before you begin talking. Ella begins, so what were they saying in the Mishnah? When say which can collect on their document, begin the Tnin on Admon. Since Admon said, Admon denied the whole thing. He said the second loan must be a forgery because nobody would loan money, borrow money if they get a payback. So since that was the language of Admon, right? Since Admon says, if I owed you money, why would you borrowing from me? Therefore they have to say that each one collects his shtar chov. 1 second. So says the Gemara. So they would say, that's what they had to say. Each one collects his shtar chov. Now, what the problem is? What is the nafkamina? Who cares? So the ramification seems to be the same. So that result is the exchange of $100, and the other $100 seems superfluous. So says Gemara, now the Gemara gets into the meat of it. What's the difference? Machal shel masayim. It should be lish shel mana. The guy who owes who's owed $200 is Michael, the other guy. It's Michael's though. V'shel mana lo machal. The other guy's not Michael. The bigger lender is Michael. The small lender is not. Says the Gemara, Matznisa v'shohaya b'Yehuda v'nasa isha v'gali. The Mishnah is talking about a case where he was in Yehuda and he married a woman in Galil. Okay, now v'gali v'nasa isha b'Yehuda, or is in Galil married a woman in Yehuda, he can't schlep her out of where he married her. You married in Detroit, you're stuck in Detroit. That's the way it goes. Okay? Baruch Hashem nowadays doesn't necessarily apply. But that's theoretically that's the way it goes, right? Now, what about Aval Imayom Yehuda v'Nasa Isha Yehuda? Now the way Karman and Adon learned, Bnei Moshe learned, it's he's from Yehuda, and he married a woman from Galil in Yehuda. So then she's stuck, since the marriage took place in his location. So then Yehuda or Migalil, he's from Galil, and he married a woman who's from Yehuda, but V'nasi from Migalil, he married a woman in Galil. Kobes, let's say she's got to remain in his place where they got married. But I don't think that's pshat. I think the pshat is that if he was from Yehuda and she's from Yehuda, but they got married in Galil, or he's from Galil, she's going to get married in Galil, but they got married in Yehuda. So the chiddush is, you might say, well, she can say, well, dear, since we got married here, even though we're both not from here, this is where we're going to dwell. So the halach is, no, he can say, since we're both from Yehuda, I can take you away. Or since we're both from Galil, I can take you away. Okay, that's what I think the pshat is. And then the Mishnah says, the Gemara says a funny language, as if there's a document written to this effect, and Karman and Moshe say that word documents like this. It says document Ani Pliny Shemi Yehuda, top of 143. Hayim Beis Mal. Ani Pliny Yehuda, I sold so from Yehuda, V'nasa Isha Yehuda, and I married a woman from Yehuda. I'm going to learn like my case. Even though we got married in the Galil, Kovino Solo says we require her to leave that place. Migalil, however, if the woman was from Galil, and according to my pshat, they got married in Galil, so then of course I can't force it to go, right? And he put me similarly. I'm so from Galil. Married a woman in Galil, even though we got married in Yehuda. We make her go to Galil. However, if I'm a Yehuda, if the woman's from Yehuda and they got married in Yehuda, then ain't you can't make her move. So the basic principle is that if they're both from the same location, wherever they married doesn't make a difference. If they're from different locations and they got married in her location, then he's stuck abiding by that. Okay? Yeah. Lawsuit goes by some. Okay, very good. Baruch Shekibat. Tani, Motzi Meir Sheruba Akum. You can force your spouse to leave, say which is mostly non-Jewish. Meir Shekul Yisrael to go to a city which is mostly Jewish. Below Meir Shekul Yisrael, but not to say which is mostly Jewish, which is completely Jewish. Meir Sheruba Akum to say which is mostly non-Jewish. Period. How do you know that a better city sometimes causes more problems? Rabbi Levi, Rabbi Chaim, Shem Chanina said, Penti Bakani Rav Amati. Lot said, I don't want to go up to the mountains. So Avraham Avinu, lest I get bad. Mishra, he was in a valley, and everybody knows the valley of Samach Lahara, and he was going to go up. He was adjacent to the mountain. Everybody knows the mountains are healthier than the city, right? It's an old Jewish thing from the Catskills. So everybody knows the mountains are healthier than the city. So how can Lot say it's worse for him to go up to the mountain? Here we see that even a good place for certain people it causes health problems, and therefore she can say, I don't want to go, or he can say, I don't want to go. Last Mishnah, I think we might make it. Hako Malin L'Eretz Yisrael. Everybody can compel their spouse to move to Israel. Ve'ena Komotziin. Not everybody can compel a spouse to leave. Hako Malin Yisrael. Everybody can compel a spouse to go to Yerushalayim. Ve'ena Komotziin. Not everybody can compel to leave. Echad Anosh Ve'Anosh is true both about a woman and a man. Ketzad also Nosa Isha Be'Eretz Yisrael. Now, this is actually a new thing. Ketzad. Let's talk about divorce. Nosa Isha Be'Eretz Yisrael. If you marry a woman in Eretz Yisrael, the Girsha Be'Eretz Yisrael, you divorce in Eretz Yisrael, Nosa Mos Eretz Yisrael, Uksuba has to be with Israeli money, which in the good old days used to be good money. Nosa Isha Be'Eretz Yisrael, marry a woman in Eretz Yisrael, the Girsha B'Kapul Kaya, and the divorce in the Chutzlaretz, still Nosa Mos Eretz Yisrael, you have to give the superior money to Israeli money. Nosa Isha B'Kapul Kaya Be'Eretz Yisrael, Girsha Be'Eretz Yisrael, you marry a woman in Chutzlaretz and divorce in Eretz Yisrael, also Nosa Mos Eretz Yisrael, you have to give her the good money. No, if you married her in Chutz La'aretz, then you're allowed to give her most kapukaya, give her Chutz La'aretz money to pay her ksuba. Noas isha b'kapukaya, Yusha b'kapukaya, if you married her kapukaya, divorced the kapukaya, then noas most kapukaya, give her kapukaya money. Okay, now the Yerushalmi actually argues in the Bavli. We're about to learn. The Bavli holds the man can force the woman, and the woman can force the man. Which is the Pasuk Shah in the Mishnah. Yerushalmi does not hold that way. And some say the Yerushalmi is not talking, the Yerushalmi say B'Bizman Hazeh, that in Eretz Chutz La'aretz is not, Eretz Yisrael is not so superior to Chutz La'aretz as opposed to Man Beis and Mikdash Kayim, but that's difficult because Mishnah is also not talking about B'Zman Beis and Mikdash Kayim. So the Yerushalmi Shver, you'll see. Who writes allow Los Eretz Yisrael? But yeah, no Rotza. If he wants to go, she doesn't want to. We make her go. However, he Rotza, she wants to make Aliyah. But who ain't no Rotza and he does not. So in the Bavli, we force him. But the Yerushalmi says, ain't going to allow Los. We don't force him to go. Now, vice versa, who Rotza allow Los or consider similar? Who Rotza Los Yerushalayim? He wants to go to Yerushalayim. But ain't no Rotza and she doesn't want to. Allow Los. We make her go up. He wrote Los, she wants to go up, Vu Eino wrote, and he doesn't want to go, Ain't Governor Los, we don't make him go. Again, it's got to be the man leading. Similarly, or vice versa, who wrote Chutz La'aretz? He wants to make you read that. Vira wrote and she doesn't want to, and Kofi no so. In this case, we don't make her go, Kofi no taste. We don't make her go out. He can divorce her, but he can't make her go out. He wrote to a taste winner wrote if she wants to leave and he doesn't want to leave, so she can't compel divorce on that account. Claiming of social taste, we compel her not to leave. Okay, so leaving Chutz La'aretz to Chutz La'aretz, there we have to listen to her. But in coming to Eretz Yisrael, we only listen to him and not her. And again, that's the Yerushalmi as opposed to the Bavli. Okay, no silo mimos Eretz Yisrael. The shekel is better than all other money. Adam Messiah, this is a proof, remind them, our Kesuvos Torah. If we give the better money, there must be Kesuvos D'Oraisa. So the Kesuvos D'Rabbanan, we will give the less good currency. Okay? Adam Messiah, remind them, Kesuvos Torah. The low could be the Kurabashin Gamliel, Nakashin Gamliel. The Tani we learn, Kesuvos Divrei Torah. Kesuvos D'Oraisa. Shin Gamliel Mer, and Kesuvos Isha Ela Midivrei Soifim. The Kesuva woman is only the Rabbanan, not the Raisa. Adlach L'Sech Kesuva Drachlan Dalam L'Sech Kesuva Dachlan L'Nis Shem Noch L'Sech Kesuva L'Nis Shem Noch Lo Ba'amadim Lo B'Rasi L'Sech Kesuva Dachlan Dalam L'Sech Kesuva Dachlan L'Nis Shem Noch L'Sech Kesuva L'Nis Shem Noch Lo Ba'amadim Lo Ba'amadasi Adlach L'Sech Kesuva Drachlan Dalam L'Sech Kesuva Dachlan L'Nis Shem Noch L'Sech Kesuva L'Nis Shem Noch Lo Ba'amadim Lo Ba'amadasi. Mazel. Tomorrow night, volume 6. The next one, Kid, and I think next one's Sota. Have to check. And it's all in the same volume, so it doesn't.